The empire, long divided, must unite. Long united, must divide. Thus it has ever been. Luo Guanzong, the author of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Hello everybody, Comrade Kelly here. Welcome to a Three Kingdom Conqueror game review. So with the recent hype going on with the Three Kingdoms Total War game, I've decided to go back to an older Easytech game series, which is the Total War Three Kingdom. So a lot of you guys might not have even heard of this game or have seen it but never tried it out. I'm here to review the game and show you why it's probably one of my favorite games in the series. So probably the biggest reason why a lot of people don't play it is because, you know, the time period is not like familiar to them. But I would recommend you guys watch the Three Kingdoms 2010 series. And if you have done that already, maybe you can go watch the older series, which is more accurate to the novel, The Romance of the Three Kingdoms from 1994. So, one of the biggest complaints I've heard from this game is the farming system. As you can see, I collected a bunch of wood from this sawmill, and they say it doesn't feel like a strategy game or an Easytech game. It feels like one of those app games you find online in the mobile Play stores or something. And I have one thing to say about that. If you think about it this way, look at the newer Easytech games coming out lately. We got like European War 6, European War 5, World Conquer 4, World Conquer 3, so on and so forth, Glory of the Generals 2 or something. And to get those set resources, such as the medals, the resources required to upgrade a building or upgrade your units, you need to grind way more than this game. And in this game, all you have to do is tap a simple button. You can collect the resource you want and use them to upgrade whatever you want. So as you can see here, I have pretty decent defense setup going on around here. I got like archer towers everywhere, watch towers. We got this thing called the Fire Dragon. There is one thing though that I have a big complaint about this game, and it's that it requires Wi-Fi to play this game. And the reason for that, there's a PvP system. You can raid other people's base, which is like kinda meh. The system is just like nothing special about it. But it kinda sucks that you need Wi-Fi to play this game. But aside from that, it's a pretty good game, and I would highly recommend it to you guys. So now let's look at some like aspects to this. So you start off with a base. As you can see here, my city is already level 12. Pretty high level. I think that's max level already. And you build like defenses around you. You build like farms so you can collect stuff, archery range so you can train up some archers, stables to get some cavalries, and so on and so forth. You can also get shipyards. The ships in these games are pretty impressive. Let's go to the tavern right now and show you the generals. So the generals in this game are probably like the biggest I've seen. Like there's so much to choose from. As you can see, I have quite a bit of good generals. So the yellow generals are probably like the 5 stars of this game. So you can see here's a list of familiar looking characters for you guys who's like familiar with this time period. So we got Ma Chao, Zhang Liao, Zhao Yun, Lu Bu, Huang Zong, and so on and so forth. You got Sima Yi over here, the guy who won at the end, spoiler alert. And we got Zhuge Liang, one of the smartest strategists I've seen. And you got Cao Cao, so you've probably seen him in Total War trailers already by this time. And you got the brothers, so we got Guan Yu over here. He's a cavalry general, as you can see. He has the ability to flood enemies when they're near rivers of water or sea. He has destruction, so he has more damage towards buildings, force march, then strike. You got his brother over here, Zhang Fei. And here we got the purple general. So they're slightly worse, but they're still decent generals to pick from. So we got Cao Hong, Cao Ren, Cao Zhang, Xiao Hou Dun, Xiao Yan. So much like generals here. We got Shi Huang, Sima Shi. And here we got our boy Liu Bei over here. So I accidentally upgraded him way too much. Those are like a bad way to spend jades, but here we go. He has Inspire, so which basically raises the morale of your troops. And he has this skill called Rescue. Friendly troops to restore a small amount of damage health, so he can actually heal the units every few turns. So that's pretty interesting. And let me just show you around with the generals. Here we got blue, they're getting slightly worse, but they're cheap, I guess, to buy. So you can basically stack up. Here we got Tongzhou, the Tyrant. And you got Menghuo and Shurong. Here we got even more green generals, so they just get worse and worse. I just got this as a naval general because he's pretty cheap and he has 5 skill, 5 style in navy. Navigation and dilemma, they're all decent skill for a navy general, so I guess decided why not grab him. And another reason for that was because I got stuck in one navy level. So here we got the gray generals. They're something I wouldn't really recommend getting. I would recommend saving up your jades to get the gold generals or the purple generals, because in this game it's surprisingly not too hard to get jades. All you have to do is complete campaigns or conquests, which we'll talk about in the later part of this video. Here we got achievements, so you can get certain jade. As you can see, I got 1000 gold for that. But here, as you can see, let me find it. Here, you can get 1500 jade if you recruit this certain general. So basically, if you get these 5 generals, you can get 1500 jades as a reward. So it wouldn't be as expensive getting them as you may have think. Here we got Lu Bu and Tiao Chan. You can get 500 jade. That's pretty easy to do. 2 wisest men, you can get Zhuge Liang and Pang Tong as the same general, and you can get 750, and so on and so forth. We also got the 3 brothers here. So as that aside with the general, let's talk about the units in this game, because they're pretty interesting. So there's a lot of varieties with the units here. Probably something you've never seen in an Easytech game, like a melee to melee, a decent melee to melee action. Here, let's start with the infantry. So first, you probably start with like the weakest of them all, the militiamen, comprised of civilians with high mobility and limited attack power. So you get them early on, but you probably have to switch them out in the future. Here we got shieldmen, so comprised trained shield soldiers against enemy arrows, so they're pretty good against archers and so on and so forth. Here we got axemen, comprised powerful axe warriors to attack the enemy tower. So this is a tower boy. Here we got pikemen, comprised skillful pike soldiers to restrain the enemy cavalry. So we got anti-cav over here. Here we got the Royal Guard, the most experienced infantry with formidable attack power and defense strength. So these are good all around, basically the commandos of the game. Here we got the siege engineers, basically battling rams, siege vehicles for destroying the enemy tower but with limited mobility. So there's some downfall to this thing. Here we get to the cav, they're pretty interesting too. Here we got the light cavalry, advanced mobility but limited defense strength, lowers enemy morale when assaulting and attack continuously after annihilating the enemy. So those are tank skills we have in World Conqueror. Here we get the heavy cavs, so high battle effectiveness and high defense strength, lower enemy morale when assaulting and attack continuously after attacking the enemy. So these guys are more painful but less mobile, I guess. Here we get the Royal Cavalry, the most effective cavalry, especially useful for attacking the enemy's tower, lowers enemy's morale when assaulting and attack continuously after annihilating the enemy. So they just get better. And finally here we get the Chariot, equipped with the Chariot to bleed the enemy's infantry, lowers enemy morale when assaulting and attack continuously after annihilating the enemy. So here we got the cavs, and finally we move on to the archers. So the first archer we start off with is a normal archer. He has an excellent range and a target distance enemy, provide good coverage for the rest of the defenses. Here we got master archers. So these are archers that shoots fire arrows. So fires, they hurt the enemies over time. So have excellent range and attack distant enemies by striking flaming arrows. Here we got crossbowmen. These are like a really interesting thing. So these two, they have range, but this guy, he doesn't. But here's the catch. He has pretty good against cavalry. So advanced attack power and hit rate causes lethal damage to enemy cavalry. So this guy's anti-cav, but sadly he doesn't have the range. So you sacrifice a bit of damage for range. Here we got normal catapult, fire stones to destroy enemy towers only for close range attacks with limited mobility. Then we got the flame catapult, so basically a better catapult. Something you should get once you unlock this unit. So newly developed weapons with flaming cannons with fragile defense strength turns the enemy positions into a sea of fire. So these two are siege weapons, as you can guess, because there's gonna be a lot of towers in this game, because as you can see over here, we got a bit of things to cover. So those are the generals and the units in this game. I think you should be able to get the basic idea of this game. Now let's finally move on to the ships. Let me find, where are they? Where's the ship part in this game? The shipyard. Hold on a sec. Here we go. We got the ships. So first we got a carrier. They're basically what the default things you unlock for free. These are ships with basically no defense or offensive capabilities, or very weak offensive capabilities. These are basically ships just to carry your units across the sea. So I wouldn't recommend attacking another ship with this thing. Shipping vessels for the army with no attack power. So there we go. Here we got a cutter. Causes colossal damage by ramming the enemy's vessel and tower. So here we got a cutler. It gets better. We got a frigate. Battleship equipped with archers, mainly for escort purposes and long-range attacks. And we got a battleship over here. So dominate battleship in the water wars with advanced attack power and defense strength. Trigger fire by firing flaming arrows. So he has flame attack. Then here we got one of the best ships in this game, the tower ship. So multi-storied battleship with catapults, the ruler in water war. So this is like the biggest ship you can get in the game, and they're pretty expensive to get. But I played this game long enough to equip every one of my units with a tower ship. So another thing different from this game is, as you can see here, I have 6 units here, 6 units here, and I'm stupid. 3 units here, 3 units here, and 3 units here. So total I have 9 units to bring to battle. So unlike most Easytech games, you train them up as you go. Here you have to be careful with what you have, what you start with. So it kind of, now that I'm saying this game review, it kind of feels like a Total War game. Because in Total War, you can train units, you bring them to the battlefields. Once you lose them in that battle, you cannot just train a random unit like mid-game and like charge at the enemy. You have to be careful like conserving them. Like you have to be strategizing the whole game to see how you attack the enemy. And I'll just explain more of that as we go to the campaigns. So I'll show you so you guys can understand. As you can see here, the campaigns here are based on the Three Kingdoms series. I've completed most of the normal missions already, except for this one where you have to go to unlock the scrolls from the Conquest. But you start off with the yellow turbans. They're pretty easy to beat. You can get a decent amount of jades from here. So all these are pretty decently easy to beat. Once you get a certain amount of jade, you should just spend to get better generals and like keep ranking up and equipping yourself with better stuff. Which reminds me, I forgot to show you the equipments of this game, which can be really important. So we got a tavern here, we got a shop here. So there are weapons in this game where you can equip the generals with. And here we got a basic copper sword. I wouldn't recommend getting them because you get them free out in the Conquest randomly from unlocking in the mission. So this thing called a carriage. This is probably one of the most useful item you could get. It's a vehicle for delivering small amounts of army provisions, food plus 30 per round. So for those who doesn't play this game, this may seem like something useless, right? But keep in mind, they introduced this system in this game called provisions. So you have a set amount of food you bring to a certain battle. Then once your food base, let's say, runs out, you have to your troops, their morale goes down, and if you don't get those food back in time, the units you have will eventually just get confused, which basically they don't attack, they don't move, they don't do anything, which will probably end your campaign and you would just, you know, lose all your army in that battle. So this thing is pretty useful. There's also some other things that I'll let you guys read, like plus mobility, plus defense, and plus attack, so on and so forth. Here we got the gear side, and here we got consumables. I wouldn't recommend you getting them too, because you, like I said, this is a farming game. You can get them pretty easily if you just be patient enough. Here we got a treasure, so these are like legendary items. Here is the Red King, so you get plus mobility, plus 2 mobility for cavalries. You got the Shadower, plus 2 archers. Then we got legendary swords. The Wolf Fang, the Snake Spear, the Steel Arrow, Steel Sword. We get the Sword of Ice. Then we got some banners here. You can see what they do, certain things. Here we get the Wooden Oxen invention by Zhuge Liang. So basically it is used to transport food to your soldiers. As you can see, it gives plus 50, which is quite a bit. Here we got the Crescent Halberd. So this is a famous weapon used by Lu Bu. Here's another one, the Marksman Bow, plus 10. Pretty impressive. The Royal Map, World Terrain Map, facilitates troops through complex topography. So basically I think it ignores the because if you go through rivers, your troops get slowed down, so like most other Easytech games. So maybe if you get this item, they'll ignore that. Here you get Art of War, blah, 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 War Drum, so your troops are always at like maximum attack, so pretty powerful stuff. So enough with the items, let's actually get to the campaign, because I've been rambling about the other things for way too long now. Here, let's go for let me see, like a random, the Battle of Red Cliff. That's pretty famous. I think it's a Navy battle. Wait a second, let's find a Navy battle first, like a random naval battle. Let's just choose this. So I'm just gonna introduce you with Navy first. As you can see, this is the Battle of Red Cliff. Some units already damaged a bit, because I think that happened in real life too. So you can see my army of tower battleships. And the Navy system in this game is like any other game. You just do this, send attack. And sometimes if your unit's not a naval general, they don't do too well in Navy. Like let's say Chang Fei, if I remember, he has 0 Navy skill, so he does nothing to the ships at all, as you can see. But there are some generals which are pretty professional, like this guy. He has 5-star on controlling Navy. So this is the Navy battle. This is it, and this is all I have to show you. After that, I'll move on to the land combat, which is even more interesting. But the naval combat here is pretty interesting enough alone for me. You gotta choose like how you're gonna maneuver your ships around, because sometimes if you go too wild, you get your ships killed because you got a bit too reckless, or if you're too passive, you let your allies over here die off or something. So you gotta pick when to attack and when to defend. Let's just escape this right now. Game over, as you can see. Let's just go to a random land battle. And they start off pretty simple, like in, let's say, the first missions. They start off super simple. Let's say one of the first campaigns in this game, it's kind of impossible for someone to lose to this one. But as you can see, it's teaching the tutorial. Here you got, let's say, a general skills. I think this lowers down the unit's morale, if I remember. Yep, there we go. You can, some generals have this set skills where you can train them in the middle of battle or give them provisions. As you can see, his health got a bit up and his rank went up a bit. Here you can see I just captured a farm. Like I said, there's provisions in this game and you gotta be careful with your, or how fast you're gonna do your campaign. So as you can see here, I have 992 and I just captured a farm, so I can produce 20 food per turn. So there are things scattered throughout the map where you can like capture to get your set items. And here we got, let's find archers here. So archers are like the field artilleries in this game. They have range. So as you can see, I can attack any of these 2 units. Let me just attack one of them right now. As you can see, I did quite a bit damage because they are just axemen after all. And I have a pretty good archer general over here, Huang Zhong. So your objective is the red dots, the red circles around it. Usually it isn't like this. It's usually capturing a city and not just kill the enemy general. Here we got my cavalry under Lu Bu. And yeah, it's doing quite a bit of damage because this is the first level after all. And you can see here, he has this morale skill, so you can choose any of these troops to increase the morale. Or you could use this to heal up your enemy, your friendly unit. So here, I just healed up Lu Bu a bit, even though it was very unnecessary. So that's it for the land combat. Let's go to a harder level and show you how interesting this game can get. And trial and error, you have to like keep trying, figure out a way where to attack to, and eventually you'll beat the game without even spending a single penny. As you can see, I've never spent anything in this game, and my grind's doing pretty well. Not as good as some people I saw in the Easytech forums, but I am pretty proud of the progress I made, and I think if I played more, I think I've gotten pretty far in this game. So let's say this is one of the hardest missions I've unlocked so far, like Wolf Expedition. And you can see the battles, they get pretty hard. Actually, this isn't too bad. But yeah, here's a city, you have to destroy the wall. But the thing is, here's the catch. There's an archer inside, and there's 3 defensive things around it, so you have to destroy each of them first unless you want them harassing your units, which is really painful, if I have to say. Here we got gate passes. They're pretty annoying to face against. They're super tanky and they attack you. They have range attacks, and if they place them in a certain place where it chokes your units, you're forced to like go through them. So you can see we got a bunch of generals trying to stop us. And here's another city we have to capture, but it's only defended by a wooden wall. So I say maybe my strategy is to, here we get my allies, attack through the south and maybe work my way up to the north. In the process trying to kill off these generals who go near me. So that's really the combat. It's really unique from other Easytech games, because you rarely see melee combat like this, or combat this ancient. Because the closest thing we got to this was like maybe some even older Easytech game series that we probably have forgotten, or the more recent one, European War 5, which everybody really hated, and I can really understand why. But this game is actually pretty good compared to European War 5, because as you can see here, it's not cartoonish. The graphics are actually pretty good, and for one of their old games, like the terrain looks pretty gorgeous. You can see it's based on like ancient China, so you can see the forests are all like, you know, you saw just like old Chinese medieval paintings, so they're all based on that. And there's a decent amount of varieties in this game too. So let's say certain uniforms for certain factions, because there's a lot of factions in this game. You can see the banner. And right now I'm fighting for the Sun faction, if I believe. And let's just exit this game right now. So I've shown you enough with the campaigns, right? I'm gonna show you the conquest in this game. So the conquest in this game is also pretty unique. Let me exit this right now. So the conquest in this game is not like your typical Easytech game where you choose a nation and you play them throughout the whole campaign, like in one sitting or something. In this one, because in the Three Kingdom Total War, that era lasted for generations. You couldn't just like conquer the whole of China with just like the span of like a few years. Like taking each province would take like some major battles, some diplomacy, and so on and so forth, right? So these are all the provinces I've captured throughout my game. Currently I'm working here in this province, and as you can see, I can attack this Yong'an, which is under Liu Bei, to get that scroll to unlock some campaigns I haven't unlocked, as you saw earlier. And something you may have noticed, you see these orange things? These are my conquered province now, so this is my empire. Maybe for those who really likes map, this may look pretty disgusting. As you can see, I have a bit over here, some bits over there, and all over the place. So that might annoy some people, but you know, if you play far enough, you can start seeing your empire growing, and eventually you'll reunite China under one banner again. And you also notice there are random chest boxes. These are just pretty good loot you can get. So as you can see here, I got 8 jades from that. They recharge every day, so you have to look for them every day. So 11 jades. And I mean, like, what other Easytech games would just give you like this random bunch of jades willy-nilly without like asking you to spend like $5 or $10 to get set items? So you can see I got a helmet over there, and there's another one here. I got timber from that, and so on and so forth. And I think that's it. So another thing you may have noticed is, as you can see, we have enemies here to fight, right? So you choose province, you fight like their minor cities or their gate passes, and you hit their major city in that set province, and you can capture that province. So if I finish off Yong'an, because I already attacked the Kui Pass and the Tsi Kui, once I captured Yong'an, I can capture that set province, so it expands my border a bit. And after like taking out all these provinces, you go to their main capital. So you can see the capital of this province is in Chengdu, and they're usually really difficult to capture because some of these campings, some of these cities are really like pretty hard to crack. And I had to do a couple of trial and errors, upgrade my stuff to eventually get it, and like rebalance what type of units I have to bring to a certain battle. So another thing you may have noticed is why does this game need Wi-Fi, and the explanation behind that is you can see here throughout the map, even though you say you capture this province, there's still like this tiny rebellion area, I guess, or like random banners that pop up. So you can tap one of them and you can see they're real players. So this guy's a Korean guy who plays this game. So these are just random things to capture. And if you want more wood, you just capture this like wooden depots. If you want more gold, you just capture this kind of gold depot. And if you want more food, you just capture here. And if I remember properly, there's also jade things you can capture where you can collect 3 jades every hour, which is it's not really that good, but I guess it's something, right? So let's just check out a random city right now. Let's say Yong'an. Remember when I say some cities are pretty hard to capture? This one, I think it's pretty, this is pretty hard to capture, since you can see my forces are split in half and I have to try to take out so much units in the screen right now. And after that I still have to go through their defenses, which are, as you can see, that's a lot of flame archers and crossbowmen. So yeah, and if I win this, I get 190 jades, and there's so much of these cities you can go capture. You can like build up such a big amount of jades eventually to hire more generals or get certain items and do certain things with it. So I think I'm about to finish with this mod review and probably just discuss a few more things with this one. I think the spending is in. You can also get one here, but yeah, you can get a decent amount, like $50 for quite a bit of jades over here. But yeah, I wouldn't really recommend spending this game because you could do this free to play without spending anything. You just gotta be careful with how you spend your jade though, because once you spend them, you can never get it back. And let's say you get a crap general and you like max him out way too much than you should, yeah, you're not gonna get those jade back. Even though if you like retire them, you get only a portion of them back. So I think that's it for this video. I hope you guys will enjoy this game, and I think I have rambled way too long now. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!
从中来不可断绝，月末渡剑，望勇相称，旗阔。